can join and everything like that. But yeah, we'll just give it a minute. I know Madison on the back end will help me admit people too. So we'll get started in a few minutes. Thanks for joining. You guys can turn on your cameras, whatever's fine. How you doing? Fantastic. Cool. And I guess I should say, I know we had some like wonky is such a funny word, some wonky like Zoom stuff. So hopefully I'm glad you guys are all here and got the invitation and all that kind of stuff. For some reason, like our register stuff wasn't connected. So that's why everybody got a reminder today. And then I just wanted to send a reminder to make sure you guys all were able to be here too. Fantastic. I'm going to give it like another like 30 seconds or so, and then I'll just go ahead and dive in. And then if I can remind everyone to go ahead and mute, just because I have some stuff to go over before we get to some discussion points. But yeah, thank you. I'm excited you guys are all here. All right, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan Snyder. I'm GiveSmart's Customer Marketing Manager, and I'm so excited to have each of you here with us today. This is our first roundtable of 2023, which is so exciting. So thank you for joining that as well. I know I've connected with some of you in the past, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know you guys and your organizations better today. A quick call out, this call is being recorded and then will be sent out to all who registered afterwards. If you're new to community, welcome. The call that you're on today is a roundtable. We hold these monthly for our community members to get to know one another, have some discussion, questions, share, and find a way to work together. You'll be able to find out more of these dates through reading the monthly community insight emails. So make sure you're opening and engaging with those. Would love to hear from you guys today. We'll have some opportunity for everybody to talk and come off mute a little later on, but please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. I'm so excited to have you all here today. Name, organization, what your most exciting upcoming event is. We would love to hear about that. Before we dive in, a few housekeeping notes. Obviously, feel free to turn your cameras on. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, so I would hope to see and hear from you guys. We're going to have a handful of discussion questions. Once again, there's no silly question, so please feel free to ask questions, put stuff in the chat, raise your hand, whatever works for you. Again, the chat box, please feel free to use that. Madison's here and is going to help us monitor that as well. Again, I'll be sharing the recording and any resources afterwards in a follow-up communication. And then please feel free to provide any feedback from this conversation based on community. We are going to be having, like I said earlier, some discussion questions. So hopefully you guys will be able to participate in that as well. There we go. So here's our agenda today. Depending on some questions and our conversation, we may wrap up a little early today. So for today, we are looking at the impact report, which is our GiveSmart data, and then reviewing the customer survey, which is our customer feedback, as each of these pieces from 2022. And that's so important to help us shape, how we're supporting your fundraising efforts year to year. So we'll dive into these topics today and then have some discussion questions before we open up the floor today for any sort of sharing or round robin or asking for feedback, anything like that. Like I said earlier, many of you know my colleague Madison. She's here today helping on the back end. She may also jump in and answer some questions, provide some feedback and more. So don't be afraid to, again, pop questions in the chat. We're both here to listen, be as helpful as we can be, take your feedback, and really figure out the best way to make your GiveSmart experience fantastic. So we'll go ahead and dive into this. Yay. So hopefully at this point, you have all seen or at least heard that our impact report from last year was released. I do want to keep this high level as we shared out the report a few times now and have hosted a deep dive webinar into it. So really just wanted to highlight a few things here. All the information shared in this report was collected from December 1st, 2021 through December 2nd, 2022. We always include that last month of the year before to make sure we're covering some end of the year giving fundraising that comes in after we pull the data for the prior year. As you guys know, this year we added donor CRM to GiveSmart, joining our events and fundraise, formerly Mobile Cause Solutions. So where you continue to be that fully featured innovative fundraising and donor management platform that energizes your missions. With adding fundraise and donor CRM to the mix, we were able to pull new data points and new insights to share with you, like peer-to-peer campaigns, total text messages sent, focusing on reoccurring revenue, and so much more. When looking through the report, you'll be able to see a breakdown of customer segments, if that's something of interest to you. So we have K-12 schools, higher ed, animal welfare, health and human resources, arts and culture, environment, so on and so forth. So you can see a breakdown within the report. Again, this report is meant to be a look back on 2022 for trends and standout data to help inform your campaigns and ideas for 2023. So, take the information and data points that you see in this report and use it as an opportunity to go back to your teams and say, hey, look, maybe we should try this, or look at the numbers behind XYZ and really think about trying something new in 2023. Again, we know that the industry continues to change and shift following the pandemic and the fluctuating economy. So we really just wanted to take this opportunity within the report to showcase like your success and your ideas from the past year. So again, the impact report is really just an opportunity to share this great data and insight and hopefully get you in a position to start off the new year right. And also a final call out for this, these numbers were seriously impressive and we saw so much growth in 2022. So a big congratulations to all of you and all the organizations on having such a successful fundraising year. So again, these are some high level overview facts, and I'm going to go to the next slide. Just a few talking points here. I don't really want to like read off the slide, but general numbers, we saw massive growth in organizations utilizing the platform, which is great. We saw our campaigns like over double, which is absolutely fantastic. And by campaigns, I mean like individual fundraising campaigns. We saw the number of auction bids placed grow significantly as well. And then we saw like overall fundraising, you guys probably know this, but we raised over $1 billion this year, all the customers did, which is absolutely fantastic. The other call out that we really wanted to hit on this year was Giving Tuesday. So we had over 200 organizations create campaigns before Giving Tuesday and raised a significant amount of money before that November 29th date. We also went from like 250 organizations raising money to over 1,600 organizations, which is just absolutely amazing. And then again, the fundraising total was over 7.8 million for that day, which is absolutely fantastic. Really wanted to call out these numbers again, just because, within the report this year, because our GiveSmart team began promoting Giving Tuesday content, toolkits, everything like that way back in September. So we plan to continue to do this moving forward to support your fundraising goals. Next slide. So customer survey, this is more customer feedback. So thank you to all of you on this call who did participate, because I do take this very seriously and so does the rest of our team. So thank you very much for completing the survey and providing your feedback. The survey was open from December 13th through January 6th. We wanted to leave it open just to make sure that we got everybody we could to participate, which is fantastic. We asked a handful of questions related to each of the individual platforms that form the GiveSmart suite of products. We asked about services, support, and then had space for open-ended feedback as well. So some talking points here. Most of you are using other fundraising products besides GiveSmart. That's fine. Over 300 of you are using a CRM platform, but we had 150 say they were not using anything or said no. Again, another big call out was that most of you have been using your selected GiveSmart module for an average of like 1 to 5 years. We saw 1 to 3 and 3 to 5, so I just made that a bigger group. And then as far as what you guys self-selected as kind of the #1 feature points for each of the individual platforms, for events, mobile bidding and auctions were the #1, followed by event management and then ticket and seating. For fundraise, online fundraising, text to donate and custom forms were right in the mix for those. And then CRM, reporting and custom, that's meant to say custom, sorry, fields were the top 2 for donor CRM. So another piece to this survey was asking a question about what you wanted to see, or what we wanted to see that benefited you guys the most last year, and really asking for what was a valuable resource to you. And this will help guide us for this year and what you're looking for from GiveSmart to support you. And as you can see, those are listed right there, ranking in order from what you guys said was the most important to potentially the least important. And then this really just leads us well into our discussion questions, which is, again, working to really help set up your organizations for success in 2023. So really the main goal today is for us to like have a conversation and focus on what your fundraising looked like last year, and then how GiveSmart can be more involved and more supportive in your efforts for this year. So I would really like to talk through these questions. Feel free to unmute, raise your hand, put info in the chat box, anything that you're comfortable with, because I really want to hear from you. I know Madison wants to hear from you as well. And this is really your opportunity to help shape the content needs of what you, our customers, need for this year. So this is really the opportunity to kind of dive in and share what was working for you, what wasn't. We'll get into the questions. So really what I would really like to dive into first was like what worked for your organization in 2022, or specifically what didn't work. And this could be in relation to the GiveSmart platform. This could be in relation to just fundraising, anything in general. So if there's anyone who wants to share anything about that, please come off mute. I would love to have a conversation around this and see what we can do to help set you up for success in the future.
We had a little bit of problem with some of the reporting, trying to, I guess it took a while to figure out how to manipulate things or how to pull the reports you wanted. And we had one item we never did figure out, that I'm supposed to be talking with somebody in your organization, that we never could figure out what the transaction was, but it was a sizable transaction that was either a debit or a credit. I really never could track it through, but generally the reporting was good. Maybe we just need some training on how to read it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anne. That was fantastic. I'm also taking notes, and then this is being recorded too, so we'll make sure to get in front of any problems that we can. But is there anyone else who has anything they want to share? If there's anyone who tried, we can even include the next question. Is there anything that you tried that was new for you in 2022? Would you do it again? Why or why not? Did you add something on? Did you try services? Anything like that?
Hey, Megan, it looks like Stephanie has a question in the chat. She said, I know there were supposed to be some updates to the compatibility between CRM, fundraise, and events. They're very interested in CRM, but with it not integrating into the other two systems yet, it doesn't make sense for them quite yet. So that's a great question and great call out, because absolutely we acknowledge that right now it's a little clunky getting information from system to system. But I do know that it is on, I think, the early to mid 2023 roadmap to have those integrations start working between the platforms so that you can more easily use the platforms, have the information going between them. But that's a great call out. Megan, anything else you'd like to add?
No, you took the words right out of my mouth. Based on the product conversations that we've been having, it's in the roadmap for, yeah, like what you said, Madison, like upcoming Q2, Q3, to really begin to work on the integration there. I would say that, Stephanie, I'm not sure what you guys currently use for CRM, if anything at all. But I would say on average, we see the CRM, like quote unquote, like sales process tends to be a little bit like longer and a little bit more thorough. So just because it's obviously managing data in a very different way for your customers. So I would just suggest, if you haven't had a demo or anything like that, reach out to your CSM and ask them if they can do anything to like get you some information ahead of time, get a demo scheduled, anything like that. Also, I'm sorry, I can't see the chat. So if you're chatting,
I got you.
Thank you. So yeah, I would say just like, don't be afraid to have one demo and then maybe follow up in a few months and be like, okay, we're maybe really ready now. Can we do another like deeper dive into things? That's just my personal suggestion. I came from an organization that used Salesforce as our CRM for the nonprofit. And oh man, that was a process within itself, if I'm being honest. Is there anyone who wants to share anything else around maybe something new they tried this year, something that worked for your organization, anything like that? Okay, cool. Then we'll move on to the next question. This is one that I'm actually like really hoping can bring some discussion points, just because this is an opportunity for me to take this back to our product team. Stephanie, I did already write down like integration as like number one for features and tools within GiveSmart that would benefit your organization. But I also wanted to see if there was anything else from this group that jumps out to you as something that would be beneficial. And I will say that within the impact report, there's some great data around maybe if you haven't tried like peer-to-peer functionality yet, or you haven't tried building out a custom form specifically or anything like that, that we've seen so much success of that this year within the Fundraise platform. Yeah. Is there anything? No additional features? I guess this means you guys are like the happiest customers we have then.
Stephanie did say that she said in other news, we tried Fundraise in 2022 and loved it. We have big plans to continue to use it this year. So that's great feedback. We love to hear that. I know, adding on these systems to like the whole GiveSmart suite, so GiveSmart is so much more than it was before, has been like a huge growth opportunity for us, but also full of learning lessons. And that's also why we value your guys' feedback so much. So thank you for sharing that, because that's amazing. And that keeps us going, because we want to make sure that what you guys are using, that you're enjoying it, that you have the support you need to keep going, to keep growing your fundraising. Because especially we come from nonprofits too. We feel it. We know the struggle. So thank you for that feedback. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will also second that. We, like Madison said, coming from nonprofits, we understand that sometimes that like you don't feel like you have the time and the capacity to like learn a new software or anything like that. So it can feel kind of like you don't really want to take on another thing. But as someone who has utilized both events and Fundraise, I just feel like once they fully integrate, that will obviously be amazing. But even now, the custom questions and things that you can learn from your donors when they donate. I just think that opportunity is like invaluable, right? Like it's just a nice way to learn a little bit more about your donors without like asking too many questions.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like Anne has a question. Anne, go right ahead.
Thank you. I have one more question. We're pretty new to GiveSmart, just have used it a few years. And is there a way to integrate? Well, we get some of our reservations directly by mail. We get some of our donations directly by mail. So when we have a GiveSmart report, it doesn't fully capture everything. Is there a way to integrate or to include within GiveSmart your things that are done external to it? Or is that just something we need to add?
So I know within the fundraise platform, you can add offline donations. For the event side of the house, Madison, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Am I wrong? I would actually like need to
Good
check.
question. Yeah.
Need to check because I know you can on the fundraise side. Because that is something when my organization was using fundraise, we would get people who would like mail in checks and things like that. So Anne, let me make a note and I'll have our product team follow up with you on that one to 100% confirm.
Okay, so I'm not even sure which module we're using. I thought we were using fundraise because we're doing all our online bidding, you know, by phone through GiveSmart and all that, but
so you're in the events module and the events module is for like silent auctions. Is that correct?
yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are in the events module. Okay.
So I used events last year. I just switched over to fundraiser and I did put checks in that came in the mail for my sponsors in the event one. That is a possibility to do.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yes, thank you.
We have some old school sponsors who just want to send us checks.
Yeah, I think we're in that situation too, Sheila. So, and we also have a lot of people who do their reservations. A lot of the older people do them by mail because we do mail out invitations still. But we also have people who do it, a lot that do it through GiveSmart. And we put that link in our mailed invitation.
Yeah,
So
you
we
have to go in the back end to do it, but you absolutely can do it. And the tech support in the event side was really helpful for us.
Okay.
Like I said, we just literally like 2 days ago, I switched over to fundraiser. So my brain is like all about the new right now, but the event does do that stuff. You just have to go in the back end a little bit.
So does fundraise encompass event, or do you do both of those? Or I guess I'm not sure I understand that. I'm sorry if I'm holding the rest of y'all up. We can do this offline if we need to.
No, you're
No.
fine. I'm happy to, Madison and I are happy to answer this question. Madison, I heard you. So if you want to go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, not holding us up at all. This is an excellent conversation. And I'm glad that you asked about adding the offline payments because I was previously an events customer before I joined the GiveSmart team. And yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because there's definitely the feature to add the offline payments. I just had to like think back to when I was a customer and when we had to do stuff like that. It's been a while. But yeah, so Fundraise was previously a different system that then joined the GiveSmart team last year. So essentially events handles your items, your auctions, your seating management, and sort of your bigger ticket events like that. Whereas Fundraise currently right now is a different platform, but we are working on the integration so that they can work better together. But Fundraise is more so that year-round fundraising tool for every type of fundraiser you might need it for. If you're doing a giving day like Giving Tuesday, or a year-end appeal campaign, a text to donate campaign, you can create custom landing pages and forms, and some of the things that are similar to what you can do in events, but it's just a more robust system for more of the general fundraising rather than focusing on those like item-based events. Right, Megan? Anything else you would change or add?
No, that was so great. Thank you for explaining all of that. I would say, and then from the fundraise side, the peer-to-peer functionality is just way, I'm looking for a certain word, just way more advanced.
Sophisticated? Yeah.
Yeah. Than what is in events right now with champions. So you can still use champions if you want to do a peer-to-peer in events, but I would say that's one of the biggest call outs that we hear when talking with customers, and I would say prospects, is that the peer-to-peer functionality in fundraise is just way more advanced and way more thorough to fit the needs. So, and does that answer your question? We can obviously have like your CSM follow up with you as well, just with like a few of these things, if that's helpful.
Sure, that's good to know. Thank you.
Of course.
Now I'll go look and see if I'm not even sure we use fundraise then. We must just use the event right now. But that's something we need to look into. Thank you.
For sure. Does anybody else have any other questions around that while we're on this subject? Madison and I are both happy to answer anything like that.
Yeah, we did have someone chime in the chat. Barb, I'm assuming I think it's a product suggestion. Something that they're looking for is the ability to edit statements. I know on the event side, that is something that you export into a PDF. And I'm trying to remember whether or not it has the capability to edit that before you export it. I'd have to follow up on that. Megan, and statements on the fundraise side, because you were a previous fundraise customer. What does that look like for fundraise?
I think it's an export thing as well. I would say in my role from like as like a marketing person, I wasn't always the one looking at the statements, but I definitely get that from like an accounting or a business side of things. But yeah, I would say for sure, I know you can export and make some stuff, make some edits there, but I did write that down, Barb, as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we'll give
And
that
Barb,
feedback to her.
yeah, I was gonna say, Barb, feel free to come off mute if there's anything else you want to add to that. If not, sorry, Madison, I think I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You are good.
Okay, great. Again, is there anything else product wise that we can answer, or any other suggestions, anything like that? Feel free to drop it in the chat also, if something comes up or you're thinking about it. But I want to go ahead and move on to the next question. I know that you get so many emails from us, and hopefully they are beneficial and help you fundraise a bit more with your organization. But this question that I really wanted to ask was like, what were some of the most helpful items, resources, webinars, anything like that that you can remember from this year, even if it was like services help or support help or anything like that? We just really want to know what would benefit you for us to really like dive into and expand on as far as content for this year. And if nothing, then I guess we'll just keep rolling how we're rolling, Madison.
Let me just say one thing. It was helpful or it has been helpful for me to go to your site and try to find the videos that just kind of walk you through this initially, because I'm not the chair of our event, but I'm the finance person. And so I had not been in any or very much training. So I think those things are helpful. Sometimes the navigation of it was a little confusing for me, but I wrote down a lot of the links in the last couple of sessions we've had that I intend to explore, and we are due to do some training soon. So that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Stephanie said, this roundtable, keep doing it, please. I love that.
I will continue to do this, whether it's me hosting or someone else. We will always be doing these roundtables.
Yes.
So thank you for that. And also, in saying that, if you guys have any suggestions for upcoming roundtables, please feel free to also share those. If there's anything that you feel like you would like us to kind of dive in deeper on, or like if you want to hear more from like someone from our product team, if you want to hear from someone from support or our training team or anything like that, please feel free to provide that feedback, because I am here to support you. And I want to bring in the people who can help you in the best possible way, even if it's just us having a discussion around like, oh, I've run into this problem in events and like, it would be really great if I knew XYZ, or same with fundraise or CRM, whatever. So yeah, please continue to provide that feedback. Even if you think of something, please email me separately. I would love to hear from you guys. I know Madison knows my email, so maybe she can drop it in the chat for me. But yeah, I would love to continue. We're going to continue these roundtables, and I do have another slide later on that does say what our other upcoming stuff is for you guys. But
I definitely think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I definitely think, based on what you guys are saying in the chat, that we could potentially do a roundtable that focuses on more of the back end stuff in the platforms, like the Google Analytics and tracking data on the different platforms, the reporting, even running those statements and things like that, so that if you have more questions or issues about those kinds of features, then we can have a conversation focused on those. Is that something you guys would be interested in? And then Emily also said, for us, it was helpful to hear specific examples of what other organizations did for successful online auctions. There was a roundtable where people discussed what types of items got the best bids, or ideas for unique items, etc. Yeah, I definitely love those ones too. Previously, when I was a customer, I attended a roundtable, and we actually took one of the ideas from that roundtable, made it our own fundraiser, and it was actually very successful for our first time trying it. And I remember giving the team back then the feedback like, oh my gosh, you guys need to keep doing these roundtables. That was so helpful. Thank you. And that was like in the midst of 2020. So we feel you. The roundtables will keep coming. So yeah, and any other feedback? Let's see, more in the chat. Anne said, yes, agree. It would be great to share ideas on what has worked for others. Emily said, I also just remembered a suggestion for events. It would be helpful for the winning bidder item certificates to be able to be downloaded separately with item numbers or names. Right now, we have to download the whole PDF, label them, and split them up manually to email them to customers separately. Yes, definitely something that we can provide feedback to our product team about. I remember that was a little clunky for us too in events, having to download those like huge batches, especially when you're dealing with like hundreds of attendees potentially to your events. I totally feel you on that. So we will give them that feedback. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. I want to, I know we have stuff planned obviously for January, and then we have February and March as well. But I actually will make it a point that for April, we can set something up that is kind of focused around like talking through silent auction stuff for like different items, auction ideas, just other ideas like that. So I will, I would say, especially for like either like April, May, or June. Another thing that kind of relates to that I will make a note of is kind of talking through some like gamification and like different games and things like that. I feel like that's something that I feel like between Madison and I, we get asked so many times, like, what are people doing as far as like games and kind of fun things like that can be like additional like enhancers, right? Or different kind of like extra little like money makers at events and things like that. So I'll make sure to add that into the mix as well. I do have a question that's not on my list that I want to ask. Just out of curiosity for you guys, what you have coming up as far as events. I guess, are you mainly seeing like, I'm curious if you're doing like golf outings, or if you're doing galas, or if you're doing anything like that, just because I would love to, especially in the upcoming roundtables, find a way to like incorporate what I know you guys have coming up into the conversation. So if you want to put that in the chat or unmute, I'm happy to take some notes. Again, it would be a nice opportunity for me to be able to do some specific stuff to help lift up your guys' fundraising ideas. Yeah, that one was not on the screen, so I apologize. And then that kind of actually fits nicely with the final question. I know this was kind of covered a little bit, and I've been taking notes, and we'll have the chat as well. But what from GiveSmart do you think would help further your success in 2023? Emily, or sorry, I wrote down again, like going through some product stuff, like from the back end, Google Analytics data, reporting, looking into some videos and maybe do some more walkthroughs, navigational support. Again, kind of looking at, like when we get to the point of like the integration, like maybe having a conversation around that. Yeah, I didn't know if there was anything else that I kind of missed that you guys would want to add to that. Even if it's something is like, you know, oh, it would be really helpful. I don't know, Madison, I'm trying to think of like, okay, here's a good example. We had a lot of people in webinars around talking about like raffles and kind of like gambling type things, ask about like state regulations. And so because of that, we were able to create an entire blog dedicated to state raffle regulations that we were able to find like in the moment. So that does exist on our site if you're curious, but obviously we also want you to always follow up with your local government, make sure you're abiding by your rules. But that's really the kind of content that like I'm thinking of in this moment. So be as specific to your organization as you want, but that's kind of just one way that we take your feedback and try to get you the best and fastest response and answer as possible.
I will read out some of what we have in the chat real quick while you guys get in your answers for that. So Linda said they have their annual fundraising gala coming up on April 29th. Marge said they have their golf classic in June and a gala in November. Love these. Kaya said we are doing all of our events through here because ticketing is so easy. Yay, we love to hear it. Our next big ones are the dog walk and the gala. Love it. I love all of you guys' animal events. They just make me smile. Sheila said June golf tournament with a raffle and live auction. Love it. Stephanie said we do our gala on April 22nd and then our fashion show in September. That's exciting. I love that. Megan, you're going to like this one. Barb said they have a golf event and pickleball, an auction and wine pull, maybe a raffle in June. Megan is a huge pickleball player.
I am. I'll admit it.
Anne said we are doing a live and silent auction, also have raffle and perhaps some games. That's awesome. These are amazing.
Guys, thank you for sharing this. This
Yes.
is great.
And I did just share the link to that state raffle regulation blog in the chat. So you guys have that link if you need it.
Thank you, Madison.
Yeah, of course.
I guess I should have been prepared. I didn't know we were going to go down that rabbit hole today.
No, it's all good. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
helping out on the back end.
Yeah, you guys, this is great. And I really appreciate you all sharing this and taking the time to join us and really kind of dive into this today. Like I said, please feel free to email me if there's anything else that you think of, because I'm not just saying this, like I really do value your feedback and it will shape the content that we produce for you guys, especially when it comes to like sharing examples of what other organizations are doing, right? So like I'm going to make sure that like if I see something for a golf outing that's like super fun and really different, that I'm going to bring it up, right, in a conversation with you guys the next time we're in this, roundtable discussion, and kind of a lot of different things like that, right? So just kind of being on the lookout, at least on my side, from seeing what people are doing that's being successful and making sure that it gets shared back to you all. And please continue. I just have a few more things that I wanted to cover, but please continue to put things in the chat, and then we'll come back and we can talk a little bit more in a second when we go to more like open discussion. Again, the one thing that I really wanted to, sorry, I have a frog in my throat. The one thing that I really wanted to call out, again, this kind of goes back to the impact report. We specifically did a call out for our services team because they were so busy in 2022, which is a great problem to have. I like to call those success problems. So if you guys aren't familiar, our services team has 38 customer facing staff members who are here to literally support you. The one thing, a few things I wanted to call out, sorry, that in the last 12 months, our customers who used guided implementation have raised 37% more than those who didn't. So that's kind of a big call out there, but that's just something, you know, really nice to be aware of. And then in 2022, our services team spent over 25,000 hours working directly with you, hosted over 2,200 personalized training sessions, held over 750 guided implementations, and had 1,750 plus remote technicians supporting your events. So really, I just wanted to call that out, is that like, we are literally here to support you. Me, services, support, everyone. So yeah, here are our announcements. Again, thank you for joining the call today. Thank you for your feedback. So greatly appreciated. I just wanted to take a second and call out that we are going to be announcing our 2022 Community Award winners very, very soon, which is so exciting. I am so proud of all of our customers for their fundraising efforts over the last year, and I'm just excited to be able to highlight a few. So stay tuned for that announcement in the next coming weeks. I also wanted to add here that February 9th, we're going to have a jump into a spring event season webinar. I'm really struggling with the sickness that I've had for like a month. So I apologize. But for this webinar, really it's more like event focused, and it's a little bit more of a demo of the features of events, but we will be having a guest speaker from the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Central Ohio, who has been a partner with us since 2018. So if you're interested in that, I think I gave Madison the link to drop the registration link there. And then the upcoming roundtables for February will highlight some of our community award winners. Hopefully I'll be able to get some of them on the call to talk through some of the things that they did well in 2022 and some of their fundraising goals for 2023. And then in March, we'll be having a conversation with our colleague, Nikki, talking through some donor management tips and tricks, and learning a little bit more about CRM. So that's kind of like it for me. So I want to go ahead and open up the floor. We have probably about 15 minutes left. So yeah, thank you guys for participating in the look back and look ahead part of this. But I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other.
We did have one call out in the chat from Stephanie. She said, I've said it before, but I'll never stop saying it. The remote techs are so worth it. We get one for every event, and it's such a huge help to have someone working on the back end while our team is running around. We love that feedback. Thank you. Our remote techs are incredible. They're like amazing platform experts. I envy their knowledge of our platforms. And I know that it's a little bit of a switch, and you can get on-site, you know, like in person, that's the word I was looking for, support for your events, but having that back-end remote tech, they are available for you for your entire event. No matter what you need, they're there to help you with the platform. So we love hearing that feedback, and thank you for that, because that's a huge boost for our services team. They work their butts off for us. So thank you for that.
Yes. But yeah, I would really like to open it up. I know you guys all dropped in the chat your upcoming events and things like that. So if there's anything that you want to, you know, like share, or things that you're trying this year, anything like that. I was in a call earlier today with a customer, and she was telling me that they received, I have my notes, I should be able to look really fast. But they received a lot of feedback that they decided to move in the direction for their live auctions of being able to kind of have someone be like a proxy bidder, because they had a lot of people who were interested in their live auction items that they were previewing on their GiveSmart site, but they weren't able to be there in person. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And she was telling me that she was really looking forward to kind of trying that this year and hearing what the feedback is from people. So just wanted to share that as like maybe a way to get us started.
How are they going to do that specifically? Just communicate by phone with their proxy bidder and just have that person in the event? I think that sounds great. We might
Yeah.
want to do that because that's where we make probably the bulk, the most of our money, of course, and I guess everybody else does too.
Yeah, that was the way that she made it sound, is that they would like, I don't know if it was like what word, like nominate someone to be their bidder or something like that, and they could be via phone and set it up on the back end. I'm really not 100% sure, but I'm really excited. I think they're doing this for their golf event, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's in a few months. So we'll see.
Oh, and Amanda, who's on our team as well here at GiveSmart, she said they also use chat on the presentation page. So that's a really good insight on like the backstage presentation page where you can do the live streaming and everything. There's that live event chat so that people can be chatting with you. And so you can also use it that way. That's really great insight. Thank you, Amanda. I was going to just share really quick, and I saw your question about what is working in the way of like items and bids. And so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a backstage view here. Let me share my screen in a second. We did a survey right at the end of last year, and this is for people who are both, some of you might have participated in this, both GiveSmart customers and non-GiveSmart customers. So just people from nonprofit schools, associations, and organizations all across the US. And so to give you some insight here on items. So the most, like the top ranked item in responses, and we got over 600, almost 650 in responses, and our goal was like 300. So we got great participation on this. So the top experiences in 2022 for auction items, we have the vacations, tickets to events. So those experience items really did the best. Then coming in second, your drink related items or alcohol, you know, your wine pulls, things like that, maybe your themed baskets and things. Food related items came in third place, or no, I'm sorry. Themed baskets came in third place with food following up in fourth. So you can see those are kind of the main pillars. We have autographed items kind of falling in the middle, and accessories falling to the bottom with like some personal care items, home decor, things like that. So it shows that focusing on your experiences, your food and drinks, and some of those themed baskets. I mean, we did everything when I was at my nonprofit. We did everything from like a kids themed baskets with coloring books and everything like that, outdoor yard work themed basket, and gardening for the spring because we had a spring gala. So you can really get creative with these, and I know you guys probably have, but that's some insight there. And then as far as games, no surprise that raffles came in first, but obviously because of regulations, you guys might not be able to do them or do them in certain ways based on what your state or your local areas say. So games, so things like balloon pop, scavenger hunt, that came in second place. Or wine pull came in second. I'm sorry. Wine pull came in second. Games came in third. And then falling behind, we have things like bingo, trivia. So hopefully that gives you guys some insights. We just did this in like November, so the data is very new. And I can share a link with you guys in the chat. We turned that data into a trends guide that we actually just launched this week. So I will share that with you right now. But Megan, anything you would pitch in on that from your experience?
Yeah, and I dropped it's probably one of our most popular blog items, even though I think it's like a year old, but like 30 silent auction items that don't cost a dime.
Yes.
Always super helpful to add on there. And the other thing, when I was working for a nonprofit, what we would do is we would try to combine like kind of do like little like city getaways or like town getaways. So that way you got like your hotel covered, right? And you sometimes you would get like a gas card donated if you could drive. And then you would get like a handful of like different experiences. Like, so I'm in Indianapolis, so I'm like what, an hour and a half or so from like Cincinnati, and like 2.5 from Chicago. So those would be kind of like two places that we would really look to create some like experience packages, which was always like really, really fun. Cause for Cincinnati, we would do like a baseball game, we would do a brewery tour, we would do, oh man, what else is there? If I'm remembering correctly, they have like a really nice like zoo or something. So we would package everything together and include a gas card and some gift cards to restaurants there. And that was something that regardless of the city, we saw do really, really well. Yeah. And then, and I know we have another resource that kind of goes back to like gamification. Madison, I cannot.
got you.
Thank you. I was like, I cannot remember which one it is, but I knew you would. But one of the things that I have seen also work really well is when I worked for WFYI in Indianapolis, which is our local NPR PBS station, which is fantastic. I really loved working for them. We did a wine poll at an event. We did a silent auction. And then because it was like PBS, we did like a fun like paint with Bob Ross thing. So it was like everybody got like a little thing and someone like guided them through, and it was like a $10 donation to like learn to paint with Bob Ross or like something like that. And so we kind of created little things like that fit the mission, which everybody like really loved. So that was really fun. And then we also asked other local businesses to donate gift cards, and we did a I don't know what it's called, but I call it a gift card wall. And you would get, and the gift cards would be somewhere between like, you know, $20 up to like $200, and you got to pick like which one you punched your hand through. So that was kind of a fun extra incentive. And I don't remember how much it was to like punch, but we did it. It was the same as the wine poll. So it must have been like, for one punch, it's $10. For 2 punches, it's 15 or whatever. I don't remember.
I love that.
But it was really fun, and people got really into it. And the other thing about it is it creates like exclusiveness, because like you only have 100 gift cards or whatever on the wall. So once 100 are gone, they're gone. Right. So
Yeah.
So is that, you mean you put them behind something and they punch like a square out
yeah.
and you charge so much per punch?
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. It was really
We
fun.
also, that reminds me, we also saw a customer, I'm trying to remember what organization it was. Megan, you might remember. At their event, they had a Plinko board where you like take a token or a ball or whatever, you know, you drop it down the pegboard and then it falls in a certain number of slots. So you would pay per drop down the board. And then obviously your little token is either going to land in like an exclusive item, a gift card, maybe it's a slot that's like, oops, not a winner, but like you pay per play and then you get to try your chances down the Plinko board, and you never know where it's going to land, but that's fun, you know, so you can definitely get creative with stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't remember the organization, but I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more question. Is a wine pool, you just have like your members bring a bottle of wine and they pull a bottle of wine blind, or what is I don't know what a wine pool is.
Yeah. So I can help you there. Yeah. Kaya, thank you for putting
Oh,
that.
I love the ring toss.
Yeah, a ring toss. So That was always the way we did it. We just always call it a wine poll just to keep it generic. But what we would do at the organization I worked at is we would work with like a local distributor, and they would make a donation of alcohol or wine or whatever they could to the event, and or like to the organization, to the event. Thank you, Madison.
Yeah.
And it was like, for one poll, it was $20. For like 3 opportunities, it was whatever amount. But the bottles of wine had to be like cost $15 or more, or the alcohol to be $15 or more. And so it was like, for your first throw, you were behind one line. For your second throw, you're behind one line. For your third line, you're behind another. So it was kind of like that ring toss thing. Kaya, do you want to expand anything on what you guys have done for it?
We've done wine polls in the past and they've gone really well. But last year we had kind of a bunch of like locally donated gin and things like that. So we decided to do the bottle toss instead, and it caught on really quickly, and people were, oh, you're like, oh my gosh, have you done that? So they would go out to the little deck area and do it. And people, it was fun because you got 3 chances it was like 25, I think, for 3 chances. And everybody thought they were going to be really good at it, and they weren't. And so they keep going back and getting back in line. And it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, that's great. And you just reminded me of another thing that we did at the event. Was we did I know people do this for like auctions and stuff as well, but we did a like wine like coat check.
Ooh.
So it was like an easy way that like once you won, you didn't like have to carry around your wine the whole night. And then when right when everybody was kind of checking out for the silent auction and getting ready to leave and getting their party favor, we just organized the numbers like 1 through 300 or whatever for people who had done the wine toss, and everybody had a bag and it was like assigned to them. So we could just like, they were like, oh, I'm number 5, and we could just hand them their bag of wine. That was like kind of a really nice way, because it is kind of annoying to carry around stuff at an event.
That's cool.
At least I feel that way.
So you just said you gave your guest a favor, a party favor, or a gift as they left. Like, what? We've not done that, but what sort of thing would you do for that?
Yeah. So I actually have an example recently off the top of my head. So we always do it based around when I was working for an organization or sitting on a board or something like that. We like that. When we did a like Mardi Gras themed event, and so we had our like party favor be, I think it was saltwater taffy, and then the other one was oh my gosh, it was a little candy. It's whatever is really big in New Orleans, and I knew I was gonna forget. I'm gonna have to Google it. Sorry. But we did that, and so they were just like little
Pralines.
Thank you. Yes, it literally just came up. Thank you. Yes, but we just did little ones of those, and we just ordered everything in an individualized packet, and then we put a sticker on it that we made ourselves. That was the reason we did that was because we wanted people to go to like a sponsored after party. And so we put the information on the favor, and it was like a QR code with like directions and like how, because the place we had the after party, they were donating whatever proceeds from like drinks at that time. So that was the real reason why we did the favors, was to make sure people knew where to go for the after party.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's going to drive me crazy that I can't remember. One year we did, it was like a circus themed. So if I'm remembering correctly, we had like cotton candy to take home, or like a bag of popcorn, because I'm in Indiana, so popcorn's very popular. But yeah, that was just another idea. I know we're at time, so if anybody has to go, please feel free to hop off. But if you guys just want to keep sharing, that's fine. I know, Barb. I know. I never make it to the after party, especially if I'm the one who's like hosting the event. I'm like, nope, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So are you doing a daytime party that you're doing an after event? Because ours is usually over by 9:30 or 10. But are you saying then you go do something else? And
So I will say that the event that I am talking about was a young professionals event. So everybody at that point, when the award, silent auction, all that stuff ended, they were ready to go out for the night, right? At like 10 o'clock. So they're like, sure, we'll go to this, bar, restaurant afterwards and have another drink and things like that. But I will say for like general, like galas, I haven't done an after party.
I actually, I've seen that before. I was at a gala just a few months ago, back in the fall, and we had the gala at like a local, we have like a camp that has a really nice reception area and like conference room that the gala was held in. And then afterward, it was the same thing. They had a sponsored after party that was at a local speakeasy we have in our town. So it was just really small. It was totally optional if you wanted to go. But just go afterwards and get drinks, and the event was over by like 8 p.m. So it was nice to like, I didn't go, but I knew a few people who did and they really enjoyed it. And yeah. So, and then Anne said, so did the venue give you the drink proceeds or a portion of it? I'm not sure, but Megan.
They did for the one I'm talking about.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we had reached out to a handful of different places that we knew were kind of like hip spots. And we asked if they were willing to donate, like, or have like a specialty cocktail for us, and any of the proceeds from people ordering that would come back to us. And so we just promoted that we were having like a special cocktail that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. And I'm not on the young professionals board anymore for this organization, but this year they are doing a 70s themed disco brunch instead of a nighttime event. So I'm excited to see how that goes for them this year.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, we are over, so I want to be aware of everyone's time, but please follow up with me. Let me know if there's anything else that you need. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Take
Thanks.
care. Bye.